I'm allowed for some of y'all to come in the chat room, but y'all already know what it is. Now it's the vibrate, you know what I'm saying? We got Miss Mook in the building. So it is written.
Peace, family.
Yep,
How's
yep.
everybody doing? Hey, I'm happy to be here.
As a matter of fact, we're gonna allow for the chat, and of course, y'all know what it is. Apologies for, you know, the timing, but we on divine timing, so everything in alignment. You feel me?
And it is divine timing, and I felt like divine timing was gonna be the message too, because when I was leaving out the door, I was waiting for a package because my package didn't have. I have my best friend works for Amazon, so I said, can you send
Right.
me something from Amazon? And he was like, yeah, I got you, but I forgot to give him my apartment number on my when I sent my address. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, Spirit was like, go downstairs and check to see if your package is there, right? So I'm in the room. It's like a little package room, right? The little
Uh-huh.
postal room in the apartment. And I see Amazon come, the man from Amazon, as I'm walking out of I checked my mail, I didn't see it. So I'm getting ready to walk out. And the man's like, hey, can you hold the door for me? And I'm like, yeah, no worries. So I was like, I was actually, looking for my package. I forgot to put my apartment number. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
what's your name? So I give him my name. And he was like, oh, here's your package. I've been trying to call you all morning. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Divine time. And I literally said, oh, divine timing. He needed to come
Right.
in and I was heading out and I got my package and I was like, that's perfect. But Spirit put it on my mind to like, okay, go check right now. Like, so I literally said that out loud. Like, oh, divine timing.
Most definitely, most definitely. And again, that goes into, again, timelines and not necessarily being in a rush with things, but allowing me to align. I feel like
Hmm.
as of recently for myself, and I feel like that's a kind of Capricorn energy of not wanting to rest and kind of always be active and stuff like that. But because I definitely feel like with this Cancer new moon, the little opposing energy to the Capricorn, like, hey, take care of your temple, your home. You know what I'm saying? The career and all that other stuff is gonna be there. Sure you're taking care of self. Nurturing self for sure.
But see,
And
we think of it as opposites, but really it's not. It's literally just two ends of one line. Like there's that line that
right,
brings Capricorn and Cancer together, and then you have on one end of this spectrum, it's Capricorn. On the opposite end of the spectrum, it's Cancer. I just feel like it's two, ends of the same spectrum. I feel like if I'm too far in my right brain or something, then I'm Capricorn. I'm very logical. I'm very, organized, very studious, and
right,
very Saturnian. And then when I'm in my left brain self and I'm dealing more in my feminine energy and I'm a little bit more creative and, focused on the home and focused on the self and family, then I get that Cancer energy, which is I feel like they are the same in just, you know, two different extremes of the same kind of energy.
right, right. Because I did, that's kind of something I realized. It's like it's almost in essence for sure. Like to me, I felt like it's like nine is the furthest number you could go to just on a numerology perspective, but just in general, it's only really almost like those six archetypes, and then there's the polarity of those six archetypes in essence. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
most definitely. And give me one sec. Let me. As a matter of fact, everybody in the chat, let us know how the audio and visual is. And of course, y'all have some questions lined up for Miss Mook as we continue. But give me
Are you
one
still
second.
in? Are you still in the age?
No, no, I'm in Louisiana at the moment.
Oh,
Nah,
okay,
I'm
so you've been traveling. Okay, you've been traveling. All right. I've
uh,
been traveling. All right. I was just wondering because I was like, dang, last time I seen you, that's where we both was, and now I'm like, I'm just wondering how the energy played out. Like, what did you end up staying and hanging out, or you end up going? You know, so that's
nah,
cool.
like you know, I saw you had posted and said something about going back to Seattle or whatever, and I'm like, hey, no coincidence that we connected in Houston, but both of us, what I'm saying, no longer in the area, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, all
Hmm.
right, things
Yeah, it's
shifting, things
sometimes
moving.
you
How
gotta. It definitely is like one of those. Sometimes you gotta get back into the foundation and like back to the root of like where you started or what spirit is like. Spirit try to get you onto a very like a earlier message, right? Like maybe something was missed, or maybe it's like, okay, well, maybe you're going back into this space at a higher frequency. And that's what I noticed about like going back into certain spaces because I'm one of those people. It's like I don't care to go backwards. I don't. I feel like I've done what I've done in those spaces and I don't need to go back. Like, for what? What is the purpose? But I realize that sometimes the spirit is like, well, you need to experience this at a higher frequency. You weren't experiencing this, where you are and where you're from at that frequency. You were at this completely other realm and version of this place. So as we vibrate higher, of course, the experience changes, the experience evolves. And so, as do we. So I feel like sometimes it's very important to get back into that original energy and foundation just so you can experience at a higher level for sure.
and as you say
Peace,
that,
family.
I've dealt with that energy. I fact straight Panther. I see you up in the building. That energy, I've questioned that. Like, man, like that's my hometown, man. That's going back. All of my classmates, and it may be not say a little unique, but I know from most people on YouTube, I'm from a very small town, you know what I'm saying? Like, less than 20,000. So it's very, you know what I'm saying? It could be very triggering on that level, but getting at the energy of like figuring out like, all right, what's the past for me? Like
Hmm.
it's being in my hometown the past, or in future, which is present, but is the past more so something energetically? So I
Hmm.
could be in my hometown, but as long as I'm not in the past energy of what I used to be in while I'm
Hmm.
there, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Kind of like what you saying. It's like, being, it's not so much the place, like the location is not the past. Are you in the past energetically? You know what I'm saying? It's more so like, what whether you in the past or not, or in the past toxically, because again, the past serves a purpose to the now moment when relevant, and the future serves a purpose to the now moment when relevant. So, that
Right.
definitely is an energy, that came up for me. It's like, well, hey, if you could master being, in a maintaining your energy and your vibration in your hometown, then again, it's kind of like, handle what's in front of you first, and then you'll be able to, move around or take care of what's next, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta, again, establish that new that growth in your home, excuse
Hmm.
me, in your hometown, so so you can actually shift that energy. So every time you come back, because I do realize that every time I come back, more and more people, understand where I'm at on my journey. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
don't expect me to go back into those older spaces. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely
I
a key
definitely feel like
aspect.
we shift the space to coming back. Like, I mean, I came back and there was a purpose for me. Like, I needed to get at an age. I would have never left the age, and I needed to be on to something different. So coming home for me, I realized is the boomerang to the next journey. Usually this is a pit stop into a new space. So anytime I've lived anywhere. Like, I went to Howard University for those who don't know. So I went to Lane College in Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, excuse me, right outside of Memphis. And so anytime, like, when I when I first left home at 17 and moved down to Jackson, then um, I ended up coming home for break, right? So then
Right.
that becomes the boomerang. And I ended up finding out that I had been accepted to Howard since my first semester. So I was like, oh, well, I just need to go and, hopefully it aligned. I found out on my birthday that I had been accepted and I could go. So that was my boomerang. Came back home to be boomerang and launched into a new space. And then I went to Washington, D.C. And then I was in Washington, D.C. So when that felt like, Spirit was calling on me to do something different, then I came back home again. So I'm
Hmm.
on break again. And then it was another launch pad. And a friend asked me, hey, you want to move to, you want to go down to Oakland? I go down to Oakland for a little bit. Then I come back home. And then Spirit's like, okay, go here, go there. So it's like it's always been a boomerang for a new journey, right? So I know that this is
Right.
always just one stop on the next phase of the journey. So I left here and then ended up in Texas, and I was in Texas almost nearly 10 years. So Spirit was
All
like, it's
right.
time to do something new. So I've been in that space. I conquered and mastered that space. And so now it's like, well, it's time to do something new. So I'm not sure where that next boomerang is going to let me off at, but I know that being home is just a pit stop in the process. And it's like,
Right.
okay, evaluate the growth that you've done, take what you learned from that space and bring it back, integrate it, and now go start something else new. So
Right.
I
Right.
take it as that, but I do fully understand, like, I get stronger on my boundaries every time I come home. I get, deeper into excuse that noise. I get deeper into my foundations of let
Mhm.
me turn off my that. I get deeper into the foundations of what I know and who I am too every time that I come home. So I try not to
Right.
look at it as, perceivably as an obstacle, what we perceive as an obstacle or a negative thing. I just see it as this is a part of a process and it's leading me to the next space on my journey.
Right, right. I see it again. It's almost like, as above, so below, as within, so without, the internal movement happening outside of us, breathing, doing the microcosmic orbit, your breath goes from the root to the crown, and then it travels back. When you exhale, it travels back to the crown and back to the root. And the root, I feel like, yeah, being home sometimes is like a power up. It's like almost like allowing for you to rest, ground yourself, nurture your roots. So your tree could,
Hmm.
literally grow up, grow higher, what I'm saying, in essence, and definitely like it is a reminder of like, where you come from and to appreciate, again, like if a tree was like negative towards its roots, then it possibly will fall over, what I'm saying? Quite literally and
Hmm.
figuratively, what I'm saying, on the energetic level. So, most definitely, so see, that area, that's where you uh was raised, like that's where you was born and raised at, or
Hmm. Hmm. So
right,
originally, yeah, I grew up in Seattle, Washington, in the Central District. So where I am right now, actually, this is not far from where I grew up. I'm right down the street from where I grew up.
all
And
right,
yeah, I was here for, obviously till about 17, and then I've been gone. So I've been gone just about as long as I was here, actually. So that's probably it's almost even the amount of time that I've been here and the amount of time that I've been gone. But I feel like it does speak to my Sagittarius North Node energy, and that energy pushes me to like go and do my thing. Like that's comfortable for me. You know, that's what feels good to me. So
right,
um, moving around and teaching and going different places and having those experiences, like that's a part of the mission. If what I know of the astrology is it, is correct, is that, that North Node speaks to what we're supposed to do in this life and who I'm supposed to be. And so I feel like it's true to that, the traveling and the traveler in me and the philosopher in me. I think it's very true that Sagittarius, that Centaur energy and things like that. So yeah, I've been here. I mean, I was born and raised here.
Most definitely. Yeah, as you bring up the nodal energy, I'm having my north node return, so to speak, you know what I'm saying, with the
Oh
north
man.
node shifting into Aries and south node shifting back
Woo.
to Libra, you know, and
Right.
I've been getting those messages. That's why sometimes it is like a little, because as I did my research, it I find it sometimes a little tough to be back home because I know a part of my growth, is to kind of move around in essence too, you know what I'm saying? More so
Mhm.
from the like a Sagittarius, but an Aries from the perspective of like doing what you feel you want to do, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, and not letting the Libra energy slash I gotta save the hood more than I gotta do what I love and what I
Right.
appreciate. Because one thing that how I remind myself of, basically like, move around or do what you gotta do is that, my YouTube channel, in essence started for one, I was in Louisiana, but I wasn't in my hometown. And then basically people being inspired by what I do and not necessarily for me being right by them. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
like again, like
Mhm.
you will be able to inspire and do what you got to do, even if you're not around the people. You know what I'm saying? And YouTube is something that's accessible to people. Everybody got a smartphone here, so they could assess all of the material and things I put out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still, in that sense, helping the people from my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Without having
Right.
to always be around in that sense of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely, you know,
That's a fact. Sorry, I had to come into the car. So
do your thing, sis. Do your thing. And
can you hear me?
so oh yeah, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
an- anything that you would like to, any subject matter,
Well,
anything?
energetically, well, I feel like energetically, a lot of the things that have been coming up. Um, Hold on just a second. I'm taking this out because I think you're
Yep, yep,
connected to the car now. You can still hear me, right?
yep, yep.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, for me. Oh, hold on. Am I paused?
The screen looked froze, but I could hear you.
Hold on.
Yep, I still hear you. It seemed like the camera just froze up.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, do your thing. Of course, everybody remember, hitting the like button. Make sure the videos is visible through these little algorithms. And peace to everybody in the chat. Straight Panther, Oracle of Medusa, Radiant Rose, DJ Divine Rising. Peace.
Okay, we back.
Yep, yep.
Am I back? Okay, perfect. So energetic, I did want to talk about how the energy how the energy is being lately and just kind of what I'm picking up on and how I feel about like what is taking place. One is a lot of distractions if you allow yourself to be, right? And there's none if you can keep your attention. And so I think we have to work really hard to keep our own attention these days.
Mhm.
And I notice it even, because I find myself, scrolling some days, in between doing work. I'll take a break from doing work and now I'm just scrolling and I'm like, what am I even watching? What have I gained in this time? And sometimes there are times where I just want to watch something. I don't want to think too hard because I'm a researcher by nature and I'm a scientist naturally. So of course I'm always researching, I'm always studying. And sometimes I want to just see something, you know, and not have to think very hard about it. But
Mhm.
lately, everything seems to be vying for your attention, and most of it is so aimless. Like, I
Mhm.
find myself on TikTok and I'm seeing a lot of like the AI things. Now, one person is doing it, now everybody is doing the AI thing. And it's just like, do y'all see how programmed and that is a programming to see someone do something and then I say, oh, I'm going to try that. Oh, there's money attached to that, I'm going to do that. And it's very enticing. People are very enticed by money these days because of the state of the economy, because of the way that the world is being taught to see materialism. um
Mhm.
so I'm noticing a lot of that, like a lot of aimlessness and a lot of things that are out there to just kind of keep you um busy and kind of distracted, and it's no real substance to it. So we've said this for a long time, but there are pros and cons to the technology. The pro is
Right.
I get to get here and have a conversation with someone like you who is a like mind, and it's connected us in the real life, right? It's connected our
Right.
timelines and our realms and our dimensions to cross paths. But it also allows other energies into our space that we may not be welcoming of. Like, this is fine for your space and whatever you want to create in your universe. I don't want it in mine.
Right.
But because
Right.
we're
Right.
so energetically connected to so many different people, if one person watches it and they're in a 5-mile radius of me, then now it's coming up on my screen because now it looks like the people in my area are interested in this. You see what I'm saying? Technology is very tricky, very crafty.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just that, oh well, you are friends with this person and they like this, and you search food once, so now here's all these things that may or may not be related to you, but here we want you to be interested in it anyway. Oh, we heard you say this on your phone, so now the ads are popping up for you. It's things like that that keep us distracted and aimlessly scrolling, even if we don't know consciously or are aware of it consciously at the moment what's happening. Does that make sense?
I know it makes a lot of sense. And matter of fact, like what I was gonna say is like, I make the joke of like, like R2D2 on Star Wars, like ain't nothing completely wrong with technology because R2D2 done helps Luke Skywalker and them a bunch of times, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
In the joking aspect of it. But also I find myself having to basically deal with not being so extreme about it. Cause for me,
Mhm.
like literally, I just be kind of almost off of it most of the day. Like, like I don't even be on it as much as I usually be on
Mhm.
it. And I always laugh if that finger hit that thumb scroll up one time. I'm like, stop before it even go any
It got
further.
you. It
You
got
know,
you.
you know what I'm saying? Send
Yeah.
the messages to who you need to message. Do what you gotta do. Post what you gotta post, and move around. You know what I'm saying? But again, like not viewing it as all completely bad. You know what I'm saying? Because again, a lot of us are working through technology. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's through social media, YouTube, whatever. We all working through these platforms. Or you got a store. You know what I'm saying? The jewelry, it's on my jewelry. I'll post things or, do things of that nature. But again, it's like not getting caught up in the scrolling, and I definitely feel you on that because I already noticed like again, the internet in essence is like a tech it's a reflection of the subconscious mind. So like you say, like
Right.
certain people in the neighborhood, and also like I pick up on who I'm possibly about to come across next in my experience by seeing what pops up, like what starts popping up. I'm like, all right, this different. Like, why all these basketball videos popping up? I must become. I'm probably about to come across somebody who really like basketball, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, you kind of pick up on it,
Yeah.
and peep out that it is, you know, what's
But see,
going on in the space.
the thing is that, like you saying that reminds me of this too, because the point of me saying that is, be very diligent and very purposeful with your attention, especially in the now times, because these energies are so crafty. That's one. Two, the energy is so potent as we come towards, we go through the dog days, then we get through that serious energy. And then as
Hmm.
soon as that 8-8, the Lion's Gate, as soon as that serious energy hit the planet, it becomes even more interesting how the energy plays out. So either you can use the energy or the energy is going to use you. So,
Right.
even as we come through the solar flare energy, where it's like it affects us physically, right? And a lot of people don't know why it's affecting them physically, but they're not paying attention. If have been feeling that lethargy, you've been feeling a change in appetite, you've been feeling these headaches, you've been feeling like this, where you want to eat more, things like that. Understand that there's a purpose behind that. And energetically, when we're paying attention to what's happening in the cosmos, we get to see the cosmos, right? The cosmos
Hmm.
and the macrocosm. You are the microcosm of the
Right.
cosmos, right? So we're that miniature version walking around, and like you said, it's affecting us on a physical level. So, paying attention and being diligent about our energy and keeping our energy for ourselves and going within at this time is very important, because spirit is pushing you. If spirit is not pushing you to go within, then I would say you need to spend more time with spirit, because that is something that I know everybody's being pushed to do, because our foundations are changing, our belief systems are changing, and you have to be very strong in your belief system, because number two, so part two of keeping your attention, making sure that you're being diligent about that inner work. It's not a lot about the action as much as it is about being. I've noticed that spirit needs nothing from me. I haven't had to verbalize any of my needs or my wants. That as soon as I declared, okay, spirit, this is what, these are the resources that, I need to do my work, or I need you to show me this thing or that thing. It's already done almost before I can even verbalize it,
Hmm.
because we're very much in the mind. It's not a lot of tools that have to be used. You can be one candle, one pen, one pad and be okay, because that's how strong and potent energy is right now. You don't have to do a lot in order for spirit to communicate with you, in order for you to manifest. It's a lot about being in alignment and being in your energy, being still, being present. I have a conversation about 80% of my day is a conversation, if not with people, 20% is with people in my day to day. The other 80% is completely spirit.
Right.
I'm
Right.
doing the dishes. I'm walking out the house. Like, I don't know what it sounds like to not have an internal conversation happening. I don't like, to me, that would feel crazy. Like, y'all don't have nothing going on up there. There's no noise. There's no, like, what?
Right.
It's
Right.
completely silent. Like, I mean, and not silence of the way of, like, when we meditate, that kind of silence where
Right.
you're quieting the mind. But I'm talking about, you're not having a conversation, and
Right. With spirit.
like,
Right.
with spirit, like, who are you talking to then? Like, what is happening? What other, I think when you're not having that constant conversation with spirit, that's when people start to have conversation with multiple spirits. That's where we get the multiple personalities. This is where we get bipolar. This is where we get schizophrenia, because you're having multiple conversations, and none of those conversations are with spirit.
Right. It's
So you're
more
having
so thought
conversations,
forms and thoughts and
right?
stuff instead of, right.
Instead of maintaining that connection and maintaining that open line with source. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got the direct line of communication, it's a constant stream.
Right.
That's the downloads and the uploads and so with that, like I was saying, keeping our attention, back to that point, keeping our attention and making sure that we're being very intentional about being and beingness and presence, right? But
Right.
also that there's an uprising, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, and it's not that Christians haven't always been around, right? It's not that we are not aware of, Christians and what people believe. That's fine. That's their business. My thing is,
Right.
they are very there's a like crusade for it right now. Like it's an uptick of it where you start to see it left and right, and they're going so hard on the energy of Christianity. And I'm like, what is this missionary for Christ energy that is coming up? Because when the energy comes up, right? And I'm saying, okay, Christ consciousness. I'm relating it back to the self. Obviously, it's like, okay, Christ consciousness. I know that our light body, right? The Christ body is the light body. So
Right.
I know that that's coming online. I know that it's being affected. But when you don't have that awareness of what's happening outside of Christianity, outside of the Bible, you go on
Mhm.
a crusade, which is what I'm, realizing comparatively is that while we're
Mhm.
preparing our Christ body, they're actually preparing as like the body of Christ, right? So
Right, right,
they're like actually the church, like the body. So I'm like, oh, this is probably why they're all feeling so like on a mission and like crusader. Like I've had so many people lately try to come and force their beliefs onto me. And I'm just like, do you not know who I am? Like, what is this? I'm like, Spirit, what are you trying to tell me and show me right now? Because I'm like 2 seconds off cussing one of these people out. Like, what is this? But I understand now that like when they're not on the same level spiritually and they don't have that expanded awareness, they take it as a physical thing. And so
right,
I'm trying to be, and I'm not going to say trying, I am working through that energy of having to be okay with losing people who don't align with my belief systems, because
right,
I don't force my beliefs on the people either. So I'm not one of
right,
those people. If you don't ask me, I'm not gonna share it. I've learned that lesson early on the journey. If you don't ask me, I'm not gonna share it. It's not for. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I don't need you to. I don't have to convince you that what I'm saying is true and right. I know it's true and right for me because I have that connection, and that nobody can
right,
take that from me. So I'm not, but I'm talking about they have been forcing it on spiritual people right now and laying it on heavy and thick. Like someone told me, like, oh well, I think God wants you to get rid of the tarot and this and this and that. I'm like, well, and God told me to tell you. I said, well, God, why didn't God tell me? I talk to God all the time. I'm trying to figure out like why
right,
God didn't tell me. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, God told you that, but God told me to do this. So one of us ain't talking to the right people.
right,
You see what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah, they
So
they
it's
more
like,
so
well,
say quickly. They just more so connecting, like you say, with the egregor or the external version of that energy. You know what I'm saying, compared to actually embodying it. But continue. I don't want to.
no, no, no. That was just it. I noticed that, a lot of that energy comes through and comes in the form of distractions as well. And it's just like, why? What is this? But what I know that Spirit has told me, because I'm like, okay, Spirit, I was the first time that it happened recently, I was very much so offended because it's someone that I very much so love and care about. And I'm like, wait a minute, like you've known who I am and the work that I do for as long as I've had these gifts and abilities. So
Right,
I'm kind of confused, but it's like,
right,
well, you're new to that space. You're new to Christ. You're new to going to church. You're new to that. So in your mind, you feel like you need to save me from eternal damnation. And what I'm saying is, if that is my path, if every day that I'm asking Spirit and my higher self that is connected to Source and God in me to keep me aligned and correct, I know that my heart was in the right place. So even if I'm not doing what was right, my intentions were pure and I was pure of heart, and my heart is light because I asked for assistance on the path. So you don't need to save me. You don't need to save
right,
me. You know what I'm saying? Like do whatever you're gonna do and let God's will be done. But like just I also see that Spirit the messages that spirit gave me was to strengthen my own foundations. Like, don't for
right.
2 seconds let that shake you or interfere with what I have told you to do. You
Cause
know what I'm
that's what
saying? So
I always ask that question. That's what I see it as in the experience of, like, like it's, again, we attracting our experience, whether we believe it or not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, like what, like you said a little bit earlier, it's like, all right, what spirit, like what you're trying to tell me with this person coming into my space all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? And I know for me, I always take it as, like, again, just having my sword sharp to not only say precisely what I need to say, but then also to be aware that I'm not arguing with you either, because that's
at all.
going, like, that's bringing me into that cycle, you know what I'm saying? But I know for myself, like, I've done pretty good with, what I'm saying, because though I was so adamant about, like, nah, I done studied so much. Like, it's funny,
Listen,
I don't go around trying to debate with people. I don't go around trying to argue with people. But best believe that, my certain little Gemini placements are just that energy to be able to, that
right?
energy to be able to make a point. Like, I can,
Yeah.
go there, which I could debate with you. And I
You said
think
I ain't a
because,
killer, but don't push me.
like, literally, because what I feel like is like I'm like an informational, energetic samurai where they know my sword is there, they know my hand on it, and they kind of be, might, there's been moments where, like, no, not him. Like, he gonna slice us down. He'll, like, literally, like, it ain't, we're trying to build our little soldiers. If we talk
Right.
man or a
Oh,
few
break
of,
it
like,
down. Yeah.
he gonna
Yeah.
cut them loose. You know what I'm saying? So it's best to let that bat, like, that's not the one. You know what I'm saying? And of
But I
course, though, I done had,
understand. Sorry, not to cut
and
you
I
off. Go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, and I done had those moments where, of course, some people like, oh man, well, you should try, Jesus. It's like, oh no, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever read the book? Have you ever read the book 16 Crucified Saviors? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, bam, like, I'm coming with it in the Christ, and I embody the Christ energy. But just long story short, yeah, it's like, you know, it's that kind of, like, again, like a foundation. You know what I'm saying? With,
Absolutely.
with where we at on our growth, in essence, you know what I'm saying? Most definitely.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And so, because I was seeing it left and right, even on my little, for you page and stuff like that, where it was just so I'm like, I do not align with this energy, but what is it? Like, what is making these things come up? But I noticed, like, so when someone, the person who I love very much, who came with this energy of like, you shouldn't do that, and it's the dark side, and da, da, da. I'm like, no, the dark side is out here walking around, walking the streets. That's the dark side. You need to go worry about them. That's the dark side. The dark side is those that are outside robbing, killing, stealing. And the ones that busted out your windows, that is the dark side. They ain't got nothing to do with me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but
Right.
nobody wants to see it that way. What I'm doing in my house that's not hurting, harming, or injuring anybody is the dark side. I'm like, how do you figure? Like, how do you
Right. Right.
figure? But the people who flat your tires and bust your windows out and stealing from, the poor and giving to the rich, that's not the dark side.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, that it doesn't make sense to me. So, but even with this person, and I'm like, well, when they brought the energy to me and everything, I said, well, that's fine. Like, it's not that I am denying the existence of said energy. What I am saying is that that energy lives within us, and that's the part that you're missing. So until you
Right.
get to that space, I've been where you are on the journey. I've been the Bible thumper. I've been in the church. I've been in all those spaces. You've never been in this space. You've never been brought out of the church, right?
Right.
Spirit has never brought you out of that space and said that's not for you, right? So until you get to that space, then we don't have any conversation to have. Like, where did that Bible come from? Who wrote that Bible? You want to verse me and Bible thump me based on the experiences, right? The Bible is based on the experience of the apostles or the disciples. You want to Bible thump me based on the experience of all these 12 different people and their experience of this energy, right? Their experience of the Christ energy. That's
Right.
their experience of that energy. And I'm telling you that as a living, breathing person, I too have my own experience with that energy. So I
Right.
can tell
Right.
you what that energy has showed me, what it's done for me, and how I embody it. So that's the difference. So I'm like, if I was to write a book right now and say that this is my experience with Jesus, do you think they're going to add it to that Bible? No, they're not,
Right.
because
Right. Right.
that is set for a purpose, right? It's all for a purpose. So I say that to say that, you know, it does require us, like you said, it does require us being very, very foundationally strong, because that's one thing that I do know. I'm not dismissive of the fact that there may be gems in the Bible. I'm not dismissing the fact
Right.
that we are connected to the Christ energy through our Christ body. I'm not denying these things, but what I am saying is that if you can't expand outside of that, you're going to be stuck in that realm and not be able to come out of it,
Right. Right.
because foundationally being raised in these different spaces, and I feel like that's for a reason, for us to know, right? Like a lot of people was like, oh well, I was raised in church but I don't resonate with that. But that foundation was for you to know that you don't resonate with it. If you would have never went
Right.
through that experience, you wouldn't know not to experience it. That could have been a path for you, but you came up out of it, you started there, right? You
Right.
had something
Right.
to hold on to. You've already been in that space. So now spirit can bring you out of that and say, this is why you don't resonate, because now you've grown out of that. Now you have other information that is going to allow you to navigate your experience. Before you didn't have that, besides
Right.
those of us who are born with our gifts and we navigate from the internal GPS, right? So I think it's very, very interesting. But I noticed the uprising of it, and it taught me in these right now moments to keep my foundation strong,
Right.
strong, and allow those who are not on that frequency to go by the wayside. I fought it for a minute, like, not this person, not this one. And I'm talking about, I love this, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They didn't got you.
Right.
they
Right.
didn't. Dang, they got you. Are you serious? I'm like, no, fighting for my life over here. Like, are you kidding me? And so I'm like, okay, well, but being okay with spirit saying, you've outgrown that, and that's okay.
Right.
You've outgrown that. You've outgrown that energy, and that's okay. And so now when I say, like, oh, I see that this person, when you get into a new realm, right? Because we're talking about timelines, right? Just to kind of switch into that, timelines are very important right now, and timelines have been coming up a lot because as we're shifting, as we're expanding, right? As you expand, you shift into higher timelines, right? And a timeline is nothing but the trajectory of experiences that you are going to have in a certain reality, right? So a lot of people think timelines is something so difficult, and it's really not. It's your trajectory of experiences. So whether your trajectory of experiences is going to be vibrating high, and so the experiences are going to be very high vibrational experiences, or you're vibrating low and you're on a lower, denser timeline, it's slower, your manifestations take a lot longer to come. That
Right.
tells you what timeline you're on. When you're
Right.
vibrating a
Right.
lot faster, the experiences are coming through, there's not a lot of perceived interruptions and obstacles. That's when you're vibrating higher, right?
Right. Right.
So when we're vibrating a lot lower and slower, it takes a lot longer for the manifestations to come through. It takes us a lot longer, what we experience as the days around us moving slower, right? The whole experience becomes slower because spirit is saying, like, you're in the experience. You've now dropped down into the third dimension. You're now in your awareness.
versus when we're traveling in the higher dimensions and it feels like we're experiencing everything from a bird's eye view. When we're in the fourth and fifth dimension, we're not experiencing thing. It feels like, wow, the days is going by so fast. Like, time flies when you're having fun. Like all of
Right,
that
right,
kind of energy, right? Because you're in your experience, you're present, you're living, you're doing and being, right? And so when we are essentially living in the past, we create lower vibrational timelines. So the experience just becomes slower. And that is really the depth of it. A lot of people complicate it and make it seem like, oh, well, I don't want to be stuck in these timelines. No, because those timelines are slow. It takes forever to get the things that you want to get. So, no, you don't want to be in a past
right,
timeline or the same timeline or the same cycle. Feel like you're going through the same cycle every day. You live in the same day
right,
over and over again. That's the
right,
lower timelines. Those are the time loops, right? And so, in order for us
mhm,
to grow out of that, we have to vibrate higher, which is
right,
faster, which creates the experiences that we want. They change a lot more frequently. We get new experiences, we get new people into our experience, and we begin to vibrate and manifest at a higher rate because we're now being magnetic, right? Because we're
right, right.
expansive. So as you expand, your aura goes out. That expansion creates and pulls in more higher vibrational experiences versus when you're vibrating a lot lower and slower. It brings a lot lower and slower energies into your realm of reality. That's where you get spirits like depression, spirits of jealousy and envy. They vibrate lower and slower, right? So
Right.
when you're
So it's
vibrating
able
a lot
to,
higher,
right,
so you got to be careful who and what you let into your experience and be manage your experience. Like manage it. I don't like this thing. This does not feel good to me. I don't have to allow it into my experience and then watch how you vibrate. You see what I'm saying? So
and
it's very go ahead.
and question, especially being in cancer season, what would you share for, for the energy of like having to appreciate or, connect with our blood family, you know what I'm saying? Or again, or being in the hometown or being in, sometimes like what feels like, slower, like being around again, well, I would say family, you know what I'm saying? Like how to deal with, your family that doesn't vibrate on the frequency you're on, but at the same time, like again, like you know what you need to do, you know what you need to manifest, like, like do you just up and leave them behind and just don't fuck with them at all, especially like if it was like your parents or something, do you just kind of, you know, completely leave them? You handle that situation with knowing you need to vibrate on a certain frequency and at the same time not throw the baby out with the bathwater connecting with your blood family.
There's gonna be some connections that spirit is gonna tell you to just completely leave alone. Like the one that I just had, it was one of those like just completely leave it because they're not gonna see it until they have their full circle moment that it wasn't you and it was them, right? So
All right.
spirit gave me that intuitive nudge like to let it go because I was pressing the issue because I didn't want to lose this person out of my experience because I'm like this literally, but I'm also not going to be I'm not gonna fold on what I know. I'm
Hmm.
not going to fold on what I know. So because you think that this is the path that you want to take, I have to allow you to take that path. And if spirit brings us back into the same experience, I would love that. I'm grateful and I'm open to that because I'm never taking away from your experience, even right now, even as you feel like you can't mess with me because it interferes with whatever you got going on. That's fine. I want every single person in my life to do what is best for them. And if that means that they have to cut me off in the process, baby, let me
Right,
go.
right,
Because if it comes down to me and you, I'm choosing me.
right,
And
right,
that's what I know. That's what I know. So it's not like can you or can you not. It literally depends on the people. Like with my parents, both of my parents know I'm a very spiritual person. My dad knows I'm gifted. He's not all the way comfortable with it because I think it scares him about his own gifts. My dad is a twin. And my dad has very telepathic abilities. He's still, even though my uncle is in another realm in reality, rest in peace to him. Um,
Hmm.
my dad's
Gosh, shit.
twin has moved on to another, right. He's moved on to another realm and he still communicates with him. But knowing that I am not a twin and I have these same abilities, he also, I think that makes him nervous because it's like, well, how do you have these abilities? And in my opinion, it's like, well, if you got them, I got 'em, but
Right, right,
okay, like that's the genetics. That's how that works. But I don't get into all of that with him because I know it's uncomfortable for him. I know that his relationship with the Most High is strained. So a lot of us have to understand that I am the closest thing that he has to God. Not that I am his God or anything like that, but I'm the
right,
closest he's going to get because he has no relationship to that higher power.
right,
You see
right.
what I'm
In the
saying?
true essence,
So a
in the
lot
true
of
essence of it, right,
Right. So sometimes you are the closest thing that your family or that your friends have to having a true connection to source. And they don't know that it could be your your prayers, your meditations, your, well wishes that keep them aligned and vibrating where they need to and keeping them out of harm's way because we're the closest thing that some people have to that energy, whether they know it or not. So I understand that for me, I don't speak to him about these certain things because I know that it makes him uncomfortable. But will I go see my dad? Yes, absolutely. I will sit there and we'll
right,
talk about TV. And it's not a long visit because me and my dad have things that he's not really ready to confront, and I'm not good at hiding those things. So for me, it's I'm coming over here to check on my daddy. I'm making sure that I am honoring you as someone who brought me into this portal. I love you
right,
and I hope that you are doing what's best. Um but we don't have to spend 3 and 4 hours with each other. I'm here to share my love with you and going about my business.
right, right, right. Because I know
You know what I'm saying?
for myself, it had been difficult, because the energy of, more focus on like appreciating the divine feminine and respecting the divine feminine,
Mm,
respecting the mother
mhm.
energy, you know. But then at the same time, there's certain energies with my mother that might feel a little, disconnected and stuff. So it's like trying to, find that balance and, making sure that I'm not, toxically, handling the situation from my perspective. Because again, like you say, it's more so like let me make sure I'm righteous in my actions, and I can't too much care about how somebody else coming at me in that sense of it, from this perspective, but more so like again, handling myself. But again, with the Cancerian energy is home, but it's also a little that mother energy, what I'm saying, and connection as well, what I'm saying, and how to have respect for that energy, love the energy, but at the same time, is something that might be a little you know, like hindering or stifling in that connection, knowing how to, you say, like have that short conversation instead of a long one, you know what I'm saying? But like navigate, through it, like just learning how to navigate through it in a healthy manner, is something, for myself. Oh, what, oh, all right, yeah, I can't, all right, yeah, the sound has went out. I can't hear you. Let's see. Maybe I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't hear you. No. maybe maybe you. I don't know. Maybe you have to press something on the like maybe have to press something on the screen because I see where they got an option for me to like mute my own microphone. Maybe you might have to check and see if you muted your own microphone or maybe something with the headphones. But we here, we in the building. All right, now I hear
What about now?
now
You
I hear
back?
you. Yep, yep,
Okay.
yep. You in the
Whew.
building.
I
You
don't
in
know
the
what I was
building.
over there doing. I don't know what was going on. Okay. I'm like, I played too much because I was touching stuff and I don't know what happened. Um, but I was listening to, can you hear me still?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. You on point. You
Okay.
good.
Okay. So I wasn't sure. I mean, I was hearing you say about the cancer energy and the mother energy and making sure you're not handling it, the wrong way and everything. And I feel like, you know, that's what's most important. What you said about being righteous is that if my mind, body, and spirit is aligned and my heart is in the right place, and I know that I'm doing one what's best for me because I'm not going to do anything that's going to affect my mental health. When you are a spiritual person, there are a lot of things that we experience that if you don't have that foundation, if you're not strong mentally, spiritually, you will be off balance. You see what I'm saying? You can easily lean to the left or to the right too much and it be okay, well now you done fell off the deep end. So
Right,
I'm saying like, when it comes to that, we have to be very aware of, keeping our mental health first. So if I'm dealing with people who are constantly negating my experience, I'm just choosing not to deal with them. But as far as, you know, um, tempering myself enough to know how much I can and cannot handle with my family, whether it be mother,
right,
father, family, whatever, I'm going to temper it as much as possible to protect my own peace, right?
right,
And our peace is worth protecting. So when it comes to my mother, she's more Christian centered, but she's very aware that I have a gift. She's very aware of the path that I take. She's very aware that I do what I do, and we simply do not get into it. She just says,
right,
congratulations. If I do a show, if I do a podcast, congratulations. I'm happy for you. If people ask her, about me spiritually, and they say, well, does she do tarot and things like that? She'll say, yeah, she's great at it. Hit her up. Like, but it's never,
right.
it's never something that we get deep into because that's not her path. She's just okay with the fact that I've chosen my own. You
Right,
see what I'm
right,
saying? She's okay with the fact that I've chosen my own, and I'm okay with the fact that she has different beliefs than me, and it doesn't have to interfere at all.
right,
I
right,
realize that it doesn't have to even cross paths at all. So, it's really tempering yourself enough to know what you can and can't handle as an individual, what is, feels right and safe for you. Like, I know too much of this because too much of these aunties and uncles is too much for me. I know that their experience is different than mine, and they will begin to negate my experience or doubt my experience. And I didn't, when I was coming into early onto my foundation and people would doubt or negate the experience that I know I was having, and I know I ain't crazy, okay,
right.
I would cut them off immediately because you're messing with my mental, right?
Yeah,
You're
you that's gaslighting to some extent, with some of those things. Yeah, right, right, right.
because it was one of those things where I cut them off instantly just because it was affecting my mental health. If you tell me that, if I'm telling you I'm experiencing something and you're saying everything within you says no, that that's not possible, then you calling me crazy. And I'm saying
Right,
early on in the journey, I did not have space for that because I had a mission. I know I was being told to do something very, very clearly, and I wasn't going to get off of that path because of anybody's opinions or because they were uncomfortable with what I was doing. I had to stay steadfast on what spirit told me to do. And it led to me being here on YouTube today.
right, right. Likewise,
So,
right, right.
you know what I'm saying? And it was like, I don't have time for this. And I had to just cut people off. And it sucked because it's like, dang, I really want you to be a part of my experience, but I can't have you doubting me and negating and making me question myself because if you push me off the deep end and have me thinking I'm going crazy when I know I'm not, what good am I going to be to the people who need me on this journey?
Right, right. You know, Yeah, that's the key. I always realized, and I always knew it early in the game, but that's kind of been like my little area of challenge. Is like just me and connecting with my mom and you know and hence having to do that inner child work because I call it that that energy, that subconscious energy of like, hey, look at my report card, like that validation from mommy energy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I tell my mama believe in what I do, or you know what I'm saying? Like, but again, like
Mhm.
having to realize first and foremost that's a you issue in essence, because you chose your parents for lack of a better, but like we chose our experience. So with that, it's like I can't, blame or what I'm saying, sit around looking outside. I have to deal with that energy and learn how to you know, move on without being extreme, you know, like not being like, oh, we're extremely, completely fuck everybody. It's like, nah, you can still have
Mhm.
love, compassion. You may still, come around in certain moments and stuff like that, but uh like dealing to connect with them or when to connect, and yeah, just having
Mhm.
that awareness of how to navigate those
Mhm.
waters.
That discernment is important, and I think what you said about the inner child is very important too, because this new moon was about the inner child, and I did a class on the inner child healing and shadow work. And so with the inner child work, um if you guys are wondering what kind of energy or frequency or shadow work to do within this new moon, or what to manifest, it's literally manifesting better affirmations surrounding your inner child.
Hmm.
Your screen is a little lagged. Like your thing is still, the picture that's
Wait.
up is still moving and talking, but you not.
All right, hold on. Let's see. It's funny because it's not showing on my end, but you can still hear me.
I can still hear you. You good?
All right, all right.
Peace, family.
Yep. Matter of
Peace,
fact,
peace, peace.
much love to everybody in the chat, man, because y'all are important to the live videos.
No, for
Is
sure.
is
I appreciate it.
is literally like what I'm saying, I brought that up one time, like doing live videos and it's almost like a spell in that sense where it kind of helps generate, what I'm saying, like energy in what we're doing and what we're speaking on, what I'm saying, like and just brings more like just basically anchors the energy in, what I'm saying, by everybody
Hmm.
participating and connecting and stuff like that, because again, literally we'll just be sitting here talking. Not to say nothing wrong with a conversation with ourselves, but again, we broadcasting to connect with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
you know, definitely.
That's exactly
Oh,
what it is. So, I mean, um, I feel like the inner child energy was very, very important lately, and I did that class, and a lot of things come up within us, and I feel like this is a chance, this is our opportunity to truly, because we're dealing with a lot of cardinal energy right now. We're in the cardinal grand cross. We're dealing with the
mhm,
cancer energy. We coming into the cancer new moon, and then the Capricorn full moon was even before then. Like, it's a lot of cardinal energy. The north and south node being cardinal placements. Like, that cardinal
mhm,
energy is so strong. So if you do nothing else, initiate something that is going to propel you forward, because this is your chance. Like, retrograde, anytime you see retrograde is review. That's the easiest way to understand retrograde, is review.
right.
Whether it's a Mercury retrograde, we're going to review our communications, right?
Mhm,
Mercury deals with the communication energy. So if it's a retrograde in Mercury, you're going to review communication, which means all kinds of communication, whether it be letters, emails, text messages. Review your communications, because that is what the retrograde deals with. review
Right.
of this energy, right? So if we have like Venus retrograde, we in Venus retrograde in Leo right now, which means that we are in review of this Venus energy. Venus is dealing
Mhm.
with beauty, charm, relationships, love, money. So you need to review all of these things. Spirit is
Right.
saying
Right.
review these things, because when the energy moves forward, you have a chance to manifest in alignment with where the energy is. Review what you've been doing wrong. All it is review. Saturn retrograde, review. We review in our structures and foundations. It doesn't matter what energy it is. If it's retrograde, it is for you to review it. Okay, and
Right.
the
Right.
space that it is in will tell you on what level. So if we're dealing with that Venus energy, we're looking at that retrograde, we know that we're reviewing our love relationships, our interpersonal relationships. We're reviewing our standards of beauty, reviewing our self-care routines. We're reviewing our self-confidence. Self-esteem is coming up because
Mhm.
Leo deals with confidence, right? Deals with that heart,
Right.
that compassion. So it's saying, have you been compassionate? Are you empathetic enough to actually help a person come up with a solution? That is compassion, right? So as we get
Right.
into this energy, we're looking at reviewing these things. That's all it is we're just reviewing that energy in order to see, are we in alignment or not? Have we mastered this aspect of it? I mean, not doctor, Sister Myra would
Mhm.
tell us all the time that we are simply mastering the zodiac. There is not an energy that comes up that you cannot embody within yourself, or that we do not embody within ourselves. And so as the energy comes up, it gives you a chance to master it. And as
Mhm.
it's happening, you see what I'm saying? So,
Cause literally, matter of fact, with me on my little anime vibes, the anime Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like the
I just watched
breakdown.
that movie.
All right. And I saw the movie pop up, and so I went and watched like the old school Japanese anime, and literally like the whole little breakdown. I'm like, damn, and they even had to go like they had a mission where they had to move through each house of the zodiac, like literally like they had to go against Taurus and Aldebaran. They had to go against uh Sagittarius, and then come to find out Two-Face Gemini. Oh, spoiler alert! If y'all don't watch it, Two-Face Gemini was actually turned. He was on his evil side and was like the boss who was the antagonist. Low key. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like you say, it's like again like the 13 number. The Christ back to energy master in the 12 disciplines, the 12 disciples.
Hmm.
Mastering. I also look at it as like navigation because the stars, moving through the waters is like how to navigate through our inner world, through our inner waters. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you mastered again your Leo energy? And as you brought up the retrogrades, you know, uh, specifically too, retrogrades in a certain sign, you could, some people may not go this deep, but you go back and see when the last time, depending on if it was a planet that moves pretty fast, or because some planets may go retrograde and it been like before we was born since the last time it was retrograde in a certain sign. But basically go back and see the last time that say for instance Venus was retrograde in Leo, and oh, it was retrograde in
Hmm.
Leo 16 years old or when I was 20. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of those themes are gonna be kind of underlining the retrograde energies as well too. But
That's a
yep.
fact. And I feel like that's coming up very heavy for us to be mastering, different parts of the self. And I feel like we do as these different phases happen. So, I mean, I'm happy, about where I am energetically, because I'm seeing things a lot more clearly. I know that there's another move coming. I know that we're in this boomerang of an energy. So I know that this energy is setting us up to propel us forward. So if you don't create what it is that you want, or at least remain in alignment, because like I said, it's not a lot that you have to do. all you have to do is maintain alignment and take action where you know you need to, where you're being prompted to. So, um, I feel like, we're being boomeranged and propelled forward. So right now is a chance to create, or being clear, just being clear about what you want and your heart's desires. And also letting spirit know, letting spirit know what it is that you need in order to complete your mission and your purpose and your work. So I don't know. That's where I am with it. But I love that. And, I'm grateful that I get to align with such powerful individuals like yourself. I'm grateful that you have me here. I do have to get
Man,
ready to go, but I'm grateful.
likewise, likewise,
It's,
likewise.
always a pleasure, and being able to, like, have, also we met in person.
Right
So,
now, and,
and it was
and
just so spontaneous, so it was like, okay, okay, yeah, let's link up.
sp-
Let's,
I was gonna say spontaneous, organic, and we did it as Capricorns. Do it we ain't even do it for the gram big,
right,
because it could have
right,
been like, oh, super posted up. And sometimes those moments be good for the morale. I understand, like, when you take a
yeah,
picture with another being, that kind of like excites everybody, kind of like us doing the live. But again, like we here
yeah,
doing the live, so that's just as strong and potent as a picture on Instagram. But yeah,
it
most definitely,
is. And then it's
you
so
know,
crazy because you know what, I thought about that too. I'm like, did we take a picture? We didn't take a picture. Like, we were just flowing, but it was so much energy to, like, when you meet soul family, it's like you got so much energy to get off. You like,
right, right,
oh
right,
man, let me tell you, it's like it felt more so like, man, I haven't seen you in so long. Let me catch you up. Like, it's been lifetimes.
right.
It's how it feels. Like, it's been three lifetimes since this happened. So, since I've been able to link up with you. So let me tell you what's been going on, and all these different things. Like, no, move that way. I'm about to leave out of here. Can you move? Sorry, this car is like trying to block
Nah,
me in.
you good, you good.
But yeah, but I definitely was like, feeling like, okay, you got energy to get off to let me know. I got energy to get off to let you know, like, this is where I am on the path. This is where I am in the process. And to me, that is so fulfilling. Like, it's like, oh yes, okay, so I know I'm in alignment because you said this, that sparked my brain. Now you got the downloads going off for me. And it's like we just sat there the whole time, like, you going through your downloads, I'm going through mine, like, we just doing our own thing in the same space, like two planets orbiting, just allowing each other to be. Like, I love that.
Right.
So,
Right.
is very beautiful. I'm about to leave, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Because he's staring at me. Uh, but
And,
yeah, it's like that. Yeah. It just feel like, we just orbiting and we just sharing in the energy, and I love that.
and matter of fact, before Mook leave, anybody have any questions posted in the chat? You know what I'm saying? Uh, if y'all have any questions, type them in very quickly. Matter of fact, let's see what the return of what this say. The 13th zodiac. Oh, I don't. With that
I'm
whole
grateful for
13th
you,
thing.
Straight Panther. Appreciate it.
Right. Matter of fact, yeah, Straight Panther, like you, bro, your energy, you know what I'm saying? Like every time I see you in the chat room, bro, it's definitely, it's definitely a vibe, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. All right,
Yeah.
let's see. All right, what Straight Panther got a question. He asks any tips for this any tips, I guess, for dealing with the current energies we're dealing with.
I would say, for the current energy, like I was saying before, that I think that it's gonna deal more with that inner child, dealing with the inner child and focusing on being is and not as much doing. The energy is um quieting all of those distractions around you to be able to focus within so that you can grow, exponentially. So I would say definitely dealing with one, the inner child, focusing on your inner being and just kind of quieting the outside noise so you can get your next steps and directions from spirit, honestly.
Gotcha, gotcha. Simply put, simply put. All right, another quick one. What's your favorite crystal to work with?
My favorite is definitely citrine. Citrine is my favorite. It definitely has helped me to it's helped me to magnetize better. It's helped me to align with the energy and the frequency of abundance a lot more than I could have on my own. So citrine is my favorite.
All right. Citrine, a good help. All right, cool. Let's see. All right. Uh, do you want to answer one more? Or it's time to. 'Cause I don't want to. Wait. The audio went out. Audio and visual.
Um okay, so can you see me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, yep. You good?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I do have to get out of here, but um no, so it is comes from, I mean, it's possible that those energies could have subconsciously influenced it, the Isis and Sotis energy. But um definitely came from my love of writing. So when we get into the so it is, so mote it be energy, that's where that signature comes from. I always used to sign things as so it is. Like anytime I write, if it's a letter to God, if it's a letter to the ancestors, no matter what it is, I will always sign it so it is. Um,
Gotcha.
in the at the end of it. So it is written was more so to say like this path was written before me, right? So it is written, like, so it was more so like so it is written, like,
Like,
so everything was written before me, like a realization of it, like, oh, so it is written, so it
like
was
Mach
written
two,
before me.
Like Mach 2 from the book The Alchemist, in essence. Like that's kind of what that stood
Hmm.
for. All right,
Hmm.
and what what's your social media links, like where everybody could find you, how to connect with you, like where to reach you for, like whether you do readings or like how everybody could connect with you and everything.
So I'll leave a comment that shares all of my little links, but I am on Instagram as so it is dot written. I'm on TikTok. It says Big Red, but it may be so it is written as well. I try to keep them all the same. You can
Gotcha.
find me on here on YouTube at so it is written. I haven't been doing as many videos on my public YouTube platform, but I am still recording videos for my Patreon. So if you want to keep up with me on a more consistent basis, I would definitely check out Patreon. I will be back to share other parts of the experience, but that's the beauty of the experience, is that it is transforming, and it's transforming for me in a way that um, it's not going to be the same kind of content that it's always been, because I'm also evolving. So I want to show other aspects of the journey and not get trapped in a loop or caught in the same experiences that we tend to always see in the spiritual community, or get caught on one level, or turn it into, um, a religion, or turn it into something that has to be, oh, like this, like this, like this, very cut and dry. Like, it still
Right.
is a very individual journey for each person, and although we align with each other in different ways, um, it it still is per the individual. Your experience is yours, and Nobody can change that. And you have to take your own experience first above all else. So, I think I'll be back to doing videos. It may not be the same way that it's always been. It may transform, and just, hopefully everybody allows me to expand in that way.
Most definitely, yeah. That's why for me, I'm like, man, I if anything, I want to kick back to doing more like interview like videos and tap into my art,
Hmm.
like creating and being more artistic. But most definitely, man, we greatly appreciate you and your presence being here on the channel. You know,
Thank you so much for having me, man. I love it. I love coming and,
I
being with the like-minded individuals, and that's beautiful.
Matter of fact, and also don't forget to your donation link, for donations, you know what I'm saying? Or if you do that
Yes.
or not.
It's if people would like to, I would greatly appreciate it. I absolutely love it. It is written um on Cash App as well. And then any other links to donate are also in my bio. So in my description box, I mean in my YouTube channel.
Cool, cool.
But
Well,
I appreciate you for having me, man. It's great. I can't wait. I usually like to go back and review the conversation afterwards, just to see, all the different various things that we've talked about. So I'm excited to see the playback and to really, sit down and hear all the pieces that I'm.
no, most definitely I'll be on that vibe too. So we definitely on that same note. Well, Miss Mook, greatly appreciate you. I'm gonna let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your now moments from here on out. And peace
Yes,
to
I will be
everybody.
talking to you soon. I appreciate you, and we're gonna have you on my channel too. So y'all look
Yep.
out for that.
Most definitely. Look, I'm excited about that as well. Well,
Okay, we'll
peace
talk
to.
to you soon. Peace, family.
All right, talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace. Let's see. All right, gonna end this stream. Yeah, appreciate everybody in the chat.